welcome back to one more paper analysis video, and your support has already came to us because our last 4 videos you all loved it and you all shared across your friends, and thank you so much for that particular support. And today we're going to talk about NIA or National Investigation Agency. So NIA is a very famous agency, and from last few days also when we are just reading out the newspaper in the analysis, we have learned many things about it. We have learned that how NIA is over and over with the time doing raids on a particular cases, and today we're going to talk about NIA in detail. But before that, we're going to throw some light on our top headlines of the day are. So starting from the headlines, the first headlines is Pakistan Army Chief pitches for coalition government. So let's understand this news in detail, like what this thing is about to tell. So always remember that this kind of videos is very much helpful if you are preparing for UPSC or you are preparing for any sort of government exam in which the analysis of paper came or the quizzes or the current affairs came. Then this video is absolutely for you, because with the paper analysis we discuss one of the particular topic in very much depth as possible, and it's a knowledge gaining stuff. Okay, so talking about Pakistan Army Chief pitches out for coalition government. General Asim Munir seeks a unified government for all democratic forces. He backs Nawaz Sharif appeal to rival parties to join hand. Independents backed by former Prime Minister Imran Khan's party win 100 seats. As we all know that before our before headlines which we have discussed on day before yesterday, we have just discussed about how Nawaz Sharif is appealing to other rival parties to join hands, and we know that General Asim Munir seeks a unified government of all democratic forces, and he supports that Nawaz Sharif appeal on that. According to the Press Trust of India, Islamabad, Lahore, Pakistan Army Chief General Asim Munir on Saturday urged the country's polarized political leadership to form a unified government of all democratic forces, as he begged former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif pleas to his replies to form a coalition government after the general elections appear to be produced on a hung government. And as we all know that as the political situation in the Pakistan is not correct right now, and in the before news or in the yesterday paper analysis we have just discussed that how the PAT party or PTI party actually got a seats, or what I can just say that got a majority seats in the government. And talking about that, Nawaz Sharif is trying to outperform that by just just want to join their hands with the rival parties so that Nawaz Sharif can form government. But let's see what happens, as we can know that PTI has already got the majority votes. So let's see what happens in that election. Talking about that, the group was followed by Mr. Sharif's Pakistan Muslim League, Nawaz PMLN with 73 seats, the Pakistan People's Party or PPP with 54, Muttiyata Qawmi Movement MQM with 17, and smaller parties taking 11 to form the government. A party should get 133 seats in the National Assembly out of 265, and as you can see that PTI performance is already better in that elections. So let's see how it happened, because PTI has already claimed victory in the elections, but let's see what other parties do on that particular thing. The nation needs stable hands and healing touch to move from politicals of anarchy and polarization, which does not suit a progressive country of 250 million people. Elections are not a zero-sum competition of winning and losing, but an exercise to determine the mandate of people. The statement said by the army chief noted that the people of Pakistan reposed their combined trust in the Constitution of Pakistan, and it was now incumbent upon all the political parties to reciprocate the same with political maturity and unity. So this you can see that what is the condition going on in the Pakistan, and I will just show you some sort of images through which you can also take a look over that. So here you can see these are the protests and all kind of movements which are going on in the Pakistan, and let's see what happens next. Okay, talking about the next news, Parliament hails the template construction in resolution. So talking about this thing, both houses of Parliament on Saturday, the last working day of the 17th Lok Sabha, passed the resolution terming the construction of the Ram temple in Ayodhya as ushering a new era of governance and public welfare. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, during his valedictory address, later stated that the resolution by both the houses would give constitutional power to the generation to come to proud our values. In the Lok Sabha, the short duration discussion under the rule of 193 was moved by BJP MP Satyapal Singh, which went on for 4 hours, with Speaker Om Birla moving a resolution on the behalf of the House on the Ram Temple, describing it as a reflection of Ek Bharat, Shresth Bharat, One India and Ultimate India. So as you can see that it actually, the Ram Mandir or the Ram Temple actually united the India during that particular movement, because you can also see that all the religions have respected the decision. Even the Muslim religion also respected this particular decision of Ram Temple construction, and we all support this movement because this will actually inculcate the values of related to the spirituality, related to the about the terms of the country and the working culture of our country, because India is famous for its spiritual belief, right? So this temple actually unites the India's spiritual belief, and it is the sign of a new era beginning. So let's support this with full of hearts and full of our power. Okay, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi on this valedictory remarks on Saturday, describing the 17th Lok Sabha 5-year tenure as a period to reform, perform and transform. So there are the 3 terms which were used by the Narendra Modi on this particular ceremony, which is that the 17th Lok Sabha 5-year tenure was a period to reform, perform and transform. As you can understand very carefully, if we study these 3 lines again, period to reform, many reformations were made in the government. Perform, like government has performed well by introducing new policies and introducing new movements, introducing new regulations, new laws. And transform, and it actually transformed the working culture of our government in the politics of India, and we can understand this thing, right? Shah exposed confidence that Modi's government would come back to the power after the general elections. With the Yatratra, the Home Minister said it acted as an awakening for the people, and Mr. Modi during his tenure finally fulfilled their aspirations. In the Rajya Sabha, leader of the House, the Union Minister Piyush Goyal said that let's see what Piyush Goyal has said. The people from all over India took part in the consideration of the Ram Temple and the movement pressing it, thanking the Prime Minister for his extraordinary contribution to the creation of the temple. And we all support this thing. Okay, I'm not from this wing or that wing, I'm talking about the India wing. So, talking about the next major headline, PM inaugurated Hindu temple in UAE next week. Okay, let's say PM to inaugurate, because PM will inaugurate an Hindu temple in UAE on the next week. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate a major Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi during his upcoming 2 days visit to the United Arab Emirates next week, the Ministry of External Affairs said on Saturday. Apart from participating in the rituals at the new BAPS Hindu Mandir, Mr. Modi will also hold talks with the leadership of the UAE during his visit on February 13 and 14. The work for the structure has been going on since 2019. An expensive 27-acre land was donated by the UAE government. And as we can see that the movement of spiritualism is also getting popular worldwide because of this particular construction ceremony of Ram Temple, and we all support it with full of hearts and efforts. Okay. Next, more news which is coming off from the EPFO. EPFO to hike interest on PF deposit to 8.25%. The Central Board of Trustees (CBT) of the Employees Provident Fund Organization (EPFO) has recommended the interest rate of 8.25 on Provident Fund deposits for 2023 and 2024. The current interest rate is 8.15. So 0.10% hike is there when it comes to the interest rates in the EPFO fund. The move is a step towards fulfilling Modi's guarantee of strengthening social security for India's workforce, said Union Labour Minister Bhupendra Yadav after a meeting of CBT here on Saturday. Waiting for approval, the CBT has recommended to the Union Finance Ministry that the new interest of 8.25 could be applied to the accumulation in subscriber counts for 2023 and 2024. And let's see how it will go. Talking about some statistics, subsequently, the EPFO will credit the approved rate of interest to its subscribers' accounts. The Union Labour Ministry said in the press release, the CBT has recommended a distribution of a historic income amount of 1 lakh and 7,000 crore to EPF members' accounts on a total principal amounts of about rupees 13 lakh crore, which were 91,151.66 crores and 11.2 lakh crore respectively in 2022 and 2023. The total income recommended for the distribution is the highest on record this time. The center said, adding that income had grown by more than 17.39 and the principal amount had increased by 17.97, which is a healthy financial performance. And we are just see that how this financial income or this particular decision by the EPFO will actually going to help the people or not. Let's see what happens next. So these were the sources from the Hindu. Talking about one more news, that BJP workers held for an attack on journalists. So some of the BJP workers or the Bharatiya Janata Party workers actually attacked a journalist. Let's see what this article says. So from the Hindu bureau straight away from Pune, 10 BJP workers were arrested on Saturday in connection with the attack on a senior journalist Nikhil Vegal's car on Friday evening while he was on his way to speak at Nirbhaya Bano event organized by the Rashtriya Seva Dal in Pune. The attack come after an FIR was registered against the journalist on Friday morning based on the complaint by BJP leader Sunil Deodar for allegedly making offensive remarks over the center offering the Bharat Ratna on veteran BJP leader LK Advani. So as we can see that this thing is also getting, as far the elections are concerned, that it can be a bad sign for a BJP. Talking about next, let's go to the next updates and let's understand the working of it. Kannada signboards getting lost in the translation. As we can just see that from in 2023, from last 1 year, we are just seeing that Kannada signboards were getting strictly implemented in the all kind of shops, and there the government of Karnataka, let's say what they have just given an order. So Kannada signboards getting lost in the translation. Sign reinforcement of the rule mandating shops to have 60% usage of Kannada in name boards. Bangalore residents have been seeing these words in the language they have never encountered before, with errors in both spelling and grammar. So as we can see that many shops are obeying that rule of 60%, but right now also not fully, and if they are using, they are just getting they are doing some sort of mistakes in the grammar or spelling. So they have given a deadline of 28th of February. Let's see till that they able to do it or not. Otherwise they will have to pay a huge amount of fines to the government. So what actually Kannada wants to the Kannada is, or the language wants to be implemented in that particular state, because it's a national heritage, or you can just say it's the state heritage of that particular state, that their language should be respected there. And as my visit also, I have also traveled to Bangalore once, and there I have also seen that many people are just following that tradition in a very great way or in a massive way as possible, because they want to inherit that values in their childs, right? So that will be only possible if they will respect their culture. So in whichever state you are, always respect your culture and tradition and your language even. So what they are just doing, according to my opinion, it is completely correct, because by doing it, they are just preserving their culture, and it will actually help them. Talking about a shop in Koramangala, Bengaluru puts its Kannada name out on a signboard, Annagadi Hesaru, which literally translates to a shop's name. A fast food restaurant in BTM layout has a Kannada signboard that literally translates to a friend's food is in a corner. Yet another place in Marathali, the word smokers is written on smokers in Kannada. Such errors of both spelling and grammar on signboards have been spotted at many places around the city, also resulting in a meme fest online. So as you can see that the jokes were created because of this kind of very silly mistakes when it's come to spelling and grammar, and it is actually getting affected, right? And they are actually the language is getting affected because of all these malpractices. So let's see what this government actually says. Talking about next. Okay, so now we will talk about our today's subject, which is very important for all of you. Whether you are going for a UPSC examination or you are a citizen of India, you should know about NIA, or National Investigation Agency, Now today we will just talk about this in brief, and also we will try to work on or focus on some sort of great aspects today of NIA. What are the cases they are just dealing with, and some of the cases are also coming on a hype when it's come to the newspaper like the Hindu, the Business Today, the India Today, and Times of India. So we will take the reference from them, and we will also understand how NIA is doing its work, and let's see how to work today, and let's talk about NIA. So NIA was initially founded on 31st of December 2008. So it was the birth date of NIA actually. So it is a body of government of India, and let's see what it does. So NIA is a specialized counter-tourism law enforcement agency in India. The agency is empowered to deal with investigation of terror-related crimes across the state without special permission from the state under the written proclamation from the Ministry of Home Affairs. Its main headquarters are located in New Delhi, and it is founded on 31st of December 2008, and the founder was Radha Vinod Raju, and the current chief is Yogesh Chandra Modi. So these were the basic details. Like NIA is actually specialized when it's come to the things like counter-tourism in India, when it's come like related to the terror or investigation of terror related crimes across the states, and NIA don't seek for any kind of permissions from the state to interfere in that affairs. They, according to the Ministry of Home Affairs, they have a permission to just go there and just investigate on the crimes which were related to the counter-terrorism or some sort of incident which is related to the terrorism or the terrorists. So let's see. Its main headquarters are located in New Delhi, and they were founded, and this agency is founded on 31st of December 2008. Talking about NIA, so this is the logo of NIA, you can just see it, and what we have just done, we have just gone through the complete website, and we have just taken a snapshots from the website, and we will just talk about what NIA does, and it's an official sources of NIA. What it is written or what will be covered in this video, they are the official sources of NIA own website. So let's talk about that. So over the past few years, I will just read it over. Over the past few years, India has been a victim of large-scale terrorism sponsored from across the borders. Now I don't take any country's name here. There have been innumerable incidents of terror attacks, not only in the militancy and insurgency affected areas and areas affected by the left-wing extremism, but also in the form of terrorist attacks and bomb blasts, etc. In the various parts of hinterlands and major cities, a large number of such incidents have been found to have a complex interstate and international linkages. So as what this thing is saying, that from last many years or from last experiences, India have faced many sort of terrorist attacks, bomb blasts, and all kind of terrorism from across the borders from different countries. Okay. A large number of such incidents have been formed to have a complex interstate and international linkages. So this kind of activities are also involving the things like when we talk about the state government or we can just say the state related linkages and the international linkages, or the linkages from inside the country or villages have also been found. Many times or in the many cases, the actual culprit is actually from our country, and in many times it can be an international criminal. So to deal with that or to deal with all kind of these problems, the several experts committees including the Administrative Reforms Commission in its report have made the recommendation for establishment of such an agency to stop this kind of terrorism and the certain acts which have the national ramifications. The government, after a due consideration and examination of issues related to the proposed of enact a legislation to make provisions for the establishment of the National Investigation Agency in a concurrent judicial framework with provisions for taking up specific cases under specific acts for investigation. So it is a very special agency which take only special cases related to the terrorism and other kind of stuffs which have some sort of terror essence, right? According to the NIA Act enacted on 31st of December 2008, the National Investigation Agency's NIA was born. At present, NIA is functioning as a central counter-tourism law enforcement agency in India. It is really important line that NIA is currently functioning as a central counter-tourism law enforcement agency in India. So this is the brief description about NIA. Let's talk about the vision. So talking about the vision of NIA, the National Investigation Agencies aim to be thoroughly professional investigative agency matching the best international standards. The NIA aims to set standards for excellence in counterterrorism and other national security related investigations at the national level by developing a highly trained partnerships oriented workforce. NIA aims at creating deterrence for existing and potential tourist groups. It aims to develop a storehouse of all terrorist related information. So just like Interpol, CIA is developed, just like that the NIA is also developed in India to stop the tourism related activities, or to work on the special cases which have the international or the national connections with them and some sort of major crimes which happened in our country. So with that particular mindset, the NIA is developed on 2008, 31st of December, and we are all seeing it. Talking about its mission, so in depth of professional investigation, a scheduled offences using the latest scientific methods of investigation and setting up standards as to ensure that all cases entrusted to the NIA are detected, ensuring effective and speedy trial, developing into a thoroughly professional, result-oriented organization, upholding the Constitution of India and the laws of landing, giving prime importance of protection of human rights and dignity of an individual, developing a professional workforce through regular training and exposure to the best practices and procedures, displaying scientific temper and progressive spirit while discharging the duties assigned, inducting modern methods and latest technology in every spheres of activities in the agency, maintaining professional and coordinated relation with the governments and state and union territories and other law enforcement agencies of the legal provinces in the NIA Act, assisted all the states and other investigating agencies in investigation of the terrorist cases, build a database on all the terrorist related information and share the database available within the states and other agencies. So as we can see how the NIA missions is that it's a very professional agency, and it is highly advanced when it's come to the technology, when it's come to forensic, when it's come to any kind of a detection or any kind of modern technology required. And NIA is highly occupied with the all kind of a technology stuff which is required to solve any kind of a complex to complex problem, and for that NIA is formed, and I think that NIA is doing it in a very great way as possible. Let's support NIA in this particular movement to win the confidence of all citizens of India through selfless and fearless endeavors. So we all are seeing it how it is working in NIA, and we all respect the NIA work. Talking about the Director General, the Dinkar Gupta IPS is the Director General of NIA. So really great. So it is some talking about some sort of national partners. So state police organization, central police organization, and non-police organizations are the major partners of when it comes to the national. When it comes to the international partners of NIA, then Interpol, Scotland Yard Police, Federal Bureau of Investigation or FBI, Central Intelligence Agencies or CIA, Financial Action Task Force, and Al-Qaeda Sanctions Committee, UNSCR 1267, and UNODC partners, and Interpol New Delhi. They are the major partners of when it comes to the international relations of NIA, and we all know that they all are some kind of a very powerful forces when it's come to the counter-tourism across the borders, across this globe. So we all know that how NIA is progressing. Talking about NIA has their headquarters in New Delhi, Hyderabad, Guwahati, Kochi, Lucknow, Mumbai, Kolkata, Raipur, Jammu, Chandigarh, Ranchi, Chennai, Impal, Bengaluru, Patna, Bhubaneswar, Jaipur, Bhopal and Ahmedabad. Talking about NIA headquarters in New Delhi, they are the details of a headquarters in New Delhi. As we are taking consideration, you can also go into the website and you can also discuss about the details and the contact details of NIA. These are the contact details. Talking about Jaipur, so these are the Jaipur contact details and address of NIA. So according to your state, you can just find the address below. Talking about the message from the Director General, it's actually an organizational chart like how NIA is working. So at the top management, the Director General is there, then the Special Director General is there, then IG NV2 and IG INO and IG admin is there, and under that they have DIG Lucknow, DIG CBI, DIG CBI 2, 3 policy, like this it all actually goes. Okay, like this the NIA force is going on. So let's now I think you have got a brief understanding about NIA. Let's talk about some sort of cases what NIA has deal. So this source is from the Hindu and the Deccan Herald. Let's talk about the first case, which is the NIA raids multiple Tamil Nadu location in connection with October 2022 car blast. So talking about this car blast, so this actually happened on 23rd of October 2022 in Coimbatore. And suspected suicide bomber, 29-year-old engineering graduate Jamisha Mubin was killed when one of the LPG cylinders in Maruti 800 exploded just yards away from famous Kotai Eswaran temple in communally sensitive Ukkadam in Coimbatore on October 3, 2023, 2022. Chennai, the National Investigation Agency on Saturday conducted special searches at 15 locations across the Tamil Nadu in connection with the Coimbatore car blast on the evening of Deepavali in October. A suspected suicide bomber, 29-year-old engineer graduate Jamisha Mubin was killed when one of the LPG cylinders in his Maruti exploded yards away from the famous Kotai Iswaran temple in communal sensitive Ukkadam, Coimbatore on October 23, 2022. The searches are conducted in Coimbatore, Chennai, Tirunelveli, Madurai, Trichipalli, during which several incriminating evidence is believed have been seized. The police suspected the Mubin stopped the car after seeing the police on duty near the temple and vehicle exploded minutes later. The NIA says Mubin was planning to carry out suicide attack, cause extensive damage to the temple complex with the intention to strike terror among the section of the society. The Coimbatore incident come weeks after an alert and was sounded across the country following a ban on a popular e-front of India, PFI. Coimbatore has always been a communal sensitive, especially after 1998 blast, which killed 58 people, in which BJP leader LK Advani had a miraculous escape. As of 109 articles, including potassium nitrate, black powder, matchbox, cracker fuse length of 2 meters, nitroglycerine, PET powder, alumina powder, and 9-volt battery were recovered from Mubin's residence after that blast. So like you can see that it's related to that particular blast. Now we will read this headline again. NIA raids multiple Tamil Nadu locations in connection with October 2022 car blast. Central agency conducted raid at 11 places in Coimbatore city and Uttakalpadam residents of some person in Trichurai, Madurai and Trichivalli also searched electronic gadgets seized. So as you can see that NIA is currently also investigating that particular car bomb case, and on 10th of February they conducted a raid and we also seeing it in a very great way as possible. Talking about next headline, NIA raids 15 places in GEI terror funding cases in Jammu Kashmir. So let's talk about what this terror funding case is. So on February 2021, the National Investigation Agency or NIA registered a terror funding case against Jamaat-e-Islami GEI. The case involves allegations that GEI and its members continue to promote terrorist and secessionist activities in Jammu Kashmir. The NIA has raided 15 locations across the region, including Srinagar, Budam, Kulam, Anantnag, and Jammu. The NIA has seized incriminating documents and digital devices over 20 lakh rupees in cash and more. The NIA has also found the funds raised by GEI are being channeled to other proscribed terrorist organizations. So what NIA is doing is very fabulous. This source is from the Hindu, Times of India, and the Greater Kashmir. Talking about the National Investigation Agency on Saturday conducted raids at 15 locations across Jammu Kashmir as a part of its crackdown on that proscribed Jamaat-e-Islami, a terror funding case, an official said. The raid led to a seizure of incriminating documents and digital devices connected to the activities of GEI and related trust, and over 20 lakhs, NIA spokesperson said. So as we have discussed about, I hope you got to know about NIA in very much detail, like how NIA operates and what are the mega significance roles of NIA, what are its organizational chart. Now we will move on to our final segment of this particular paper analysis video, in which we will talk about some sort of general knowledge again. So talking about glimpse from the House of 2024, because the last session of 17th Lok Sabha, talking about glimpse from the House, what they have just done. So you are just seeing that particular headlines here. So let's talk it about detail. On 17th Lok Sabha, which took off over with the removal of special status of Jammu Kashmir under the Article 370 of the Constitution, ended its last session on Saturday with special discussion on construction of Ram Temple at Ayodhya, key movements over the 5 years. Now we will discuss about all that key movements. So it's very much important from the UPSC point of view. I am right now also saying, so share it with all your friends who want some sort of knowledge. And as these videos are not more than 30 to 35 minutes, so you will hardly take half an hour for you to just getting updated daily, and it will actually improve your knowledge. So daily watch this video so that your knowledge can be improved in a very, very great way as possible. Abrogation of JNK special status, a long cherished political goal of Jan Singh ideology, Syama Prasad Mukherjee, and abrogation of the special status of Jammu Kashmir under Article 370 of Constitution was among the key decisions taken by the Modi government 2.0. Triple Talaq ban. Among the first laws that the Modi government brought in its second tenure was the Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Bill 2019. It banned instant triple talaq, functioning under COVID-19 protocols. The monsoon season in 2020 was the first season that got delayed due to pandemic. It was held amid major changes due to COVID-19 protocol. The Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha had separate sittings as members were spread across the two chambers to maintain social distancing. In September 2020, Parliament passed 3 farms laws. The farmers from Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh began a protest forcing government to roll back the controversial laws in November 2021. 3 farm law. New home for Parliament. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the new Parliament building on May 28 amid Vedic chants by the priest, and the Prime Minister performed pujas and later installed Sengol sceptre in picture left from Tamil Nadu in the Lok Sabha chamber right next to the speaker chair. The ceremony was boycotted by 19 opposition parties over what they have described as violation of protocol, and it should be presided over the president. Women's reservation law. 27 years after Women's Reservation Bill passed was first introduced in Parliament, the Lok Sabha on September 20, 2023 passed a bill with near unanimity to amend the constitution and provide 1/3 reservation to the women in the Lok Sabha and State Assembly. End of the colonial era criminal laws. The 17th Lok Sabha witnessed the passage of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita Bill, the Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita Bill and the Bharatiya Sakshya Bill to replace the Indian Penal Code and the Code of Criminal Procedure and the Indian Evidence Act respectively. Security breach. On December 13, 2023, the second anniversary of terror attack on Parliament, 2 men jumped from the visitors gallery into the Lok Sabha chambers. They were carrying canisters that emitted yellow smoke, which you can just see in this picture, like how they are just interrupted in that Lok Sabha. MPs appended the incident and handed them to the security staff. Record suspension in a single session. The winter session of Parliament in December 2023 saw as many 146 opposition MPs being suspended from both the houses for bringing play cards. The opposition, however, alleged that the suspensions were aimed to preventing them from asking questions to the Home Minister on the security breach. Talking about next, disqualification and expulsion. On 17th Lok Sabha saw the disqualification of Congress leader Rahul Gandhi after he was convicted in the defamation case by the Gujarat court. His membership was reinitiated days after the Supreme Court stayed the conviction. The House also expelled Trinamool Congress MP Mahua Manitra after the Ethics Committee found her guilty in unethical conduct and contempt of the House for sharing the Lok Sabha credentials with unauthorized persons. So these were the major highlights which are there in the 17th Lok Sabha, and as you can just see that Modi has also given the ending speech at that particular time. So it was really great in our country that we are getting updated. So this video is all of you, those who want to get updated in less than 40 minutes of video, then you can just read the newspaper daily. If you don't have read to the newspaper, just watch this video. And if you also don't have, just watch the audio form of this video. If you have YouTube Premium, if you don't have, you all have other ways to do it. Okay. Manmohan Singh missed the reform bus at PM, says Nirmala. What Nirmala Sitharaman has said, she actually raised their fingers on the Manmohan Singh government when it's come to the global financial crisis. What she has just said actually. So in United Progressive Alliance UPA squandered the opportunity to implement the unfinished reforms agenda from 1991 during its decade in office. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that in the Rajya Sabha on Saturday, accusing the Manmohan Singh government to the rough mismanagement after a global financial crisis. Cutting a Tamil Nadu proverb, Mullu Mel Pota, Tuni Mathiri, like a cloth placed in thorns. And she actually taken this metaphor to the further. What she has just said, that Narendra Modi government had carefully extricated India's economy out of the thorns the UPA had tangled it in without tripping its fabric. The economy was like a piece of cloth on that the thorny brush. The thorns were all the malpractices that torn into the economy. The whole world was using the phrase fragile five for all of us. What was the level of fragility? From the bottom, where within the first five, she said. And all UPA inherited a very good economy from the Atal Bihari Vajpayee government, and maybe in your first 5 years you tried benefiting the people with a good economy. But subsequently and unfortunately, after the global financial crisis met, it was though mismanagement, the minister said. Talking on this particular matter which is going on from last 3 days, that the white paper is presented by the government. If you don't know about white and black paper, just watch that video. It is coming on our place cards. You can just go and watch the episode 3 in detail, where we have discussed about white and black paper in very detail. White paper is hiding the dark truth, says the Congress leader. As Congress leader KC Venugopal saying, what he has just pointed out, he has pointed out that white paper is actually hiding the all sort of mismanagements or all sort of problem which was done by Modi government. Is only talking about what are the right things which is done by the government, and it is not a white paper. Instead, he termed this paper as, it is instead of a white paper, it is just actually a paper. This is not the white paper, this is the paper hiding the dark truths of the country. And also Trinamool Congress MP Sakte Gokhale said that the white paper was magical since it didn't mention anything glaring failures of the Modi government. And he also said that this white paper does not contain any sort of impact of demonetization, and there is no word on it. Talking about his prediction had come true. Mr. Venugopal said that, adding, what is the situation of MSMEs in India? They are finished, and because of MSMEs closure, the unemployment rates are skyrocketing. The unemployment rates during the UPA years fell from 8.4 in 2004 to 5.6 in 2011 to 12, while in October 2023 it is 10.08. So as you can see, the unemployment is increased in India. So this were not covered in the white paper, as the white paper is hiding the dark truth. And this is the statement from KC Venugopal. Talking about that, what Narendra Modi said on his last 17th Lok Sabha session, a period to reform, perform and transform. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday said that 5-year tenure of the 17th Lok Sabha was the period to reform, perform and transform that propelled the country towards the big changes. The country had moved towards the big change at a very fast pace, and all the members of the House made an important contribution. Such works as were completed for which people had waited for centuries, Mr. Modi said in his valedictory speech. He added that the country try and will bless the 17th Lok Sabha, and he also talked about or the work or the performance which is given by all kind of personalities in the Lok Sabha, and he values that performance. He said that it might make a few nervous, but it was an essential impact on democracy and we will accept proudly. Talking about this, he added, for generation, people had dreamed of one constitution, but this house made that possible by removing Article 370. That is very important thing. The Prime Minister thanked MPs and Speaker Om Birla. You Birla, or you, Mr. Birla, always had a smile on your face no matter what happened. You left this house in an impartial manner, and I loved you for that. There were times of anger and accusations, but you handled these situations with patience and ran the house wisely, as Narendra Modi said. So it was a complete thing. There are used to be talk when we are needed for having a new building in earlier times, but the decisions of the speaker made this into reality during the 17th Lok Sabha, he said. Adding that the ceremonial installation on the Sengol, the house was also made under the leadership of Mr. Birla leaderships. So as you are just seeing that it was a really great aspects what we have just covered today on the Sunday news, and in the Sunday is the day, but we are back with again with a great kind of concepts. Again, I will meet you in the next episode with a great story or with a great facts and figures, so that you can just inculcate a knowledge with all kind of facts by investing only 40 minutes of your time daily. And sometimes it is not even 40, it is lesser than 40, it is near about 35. So I hope you got knowledge about NIA also and the working of NIA. So I will see you in the next video. Please share it to your friends and all kind of students or all kind of youth who are just preparing for any kind of government examination and want to get updated, because as a citizen of India, it's your duty to get updated every time and any time, because anytime any crisis can come, anytime any responsibility can be thrown on you. So get ready for that, and for that you have to be updated every day. So I will meet you on the next video. I hope you just like this video. Till then, subscribe, share.